Going camping? These just your average college girls.
We're really making good progress.
You are a good-looking man, more or less.
Welcome back to Cocktail Cinema, folks.
Yes, sir.
I am your first favorite bartender, your third favorite author, bringing you
Let's go.
your weekly movie review podcast, and the first in our spooky season series for 2021. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Greg, and our producer, Shasti. How we doing, boys?
Good.
Very well. I love the intro there, Shasti. Nice work on that one.
You got it,
Good.
buddy.
Good. It was tight.
That was just for you.
I am super pumped, boys, because this is one of my favorite movies of all time. Let's go down to the sticks and watch Tucker and Dale versus Evil. This movie came out in 2010. It is the directorial debut of Eli Craig. This movie had a meager budget of $5 million. And it had a very meager box office return of $5.7 million. So, mostly made their money back.
Hey, it's a cult classic.
Yeah, it's
cult
become
classic.
a cult movie in the years since.
There's some value with recognition that money cannot.
Well, this is box office, and in this day and age, like streaming and DVD sales and stuff don't factor in as much as they should. That said, though, this movie also has one of a pod favorite. Well, has a pod favorite. There we go. The writer can't speak. Has a pod favorite on the cast list. Grego, talk to me about my boys.
Okay. We're not going to get into that pod friend favorite yet, but Tyler Labine. Dale, that beautiful man. Yeah. Now it's our pod favorite time. Ellen Tudyk, everyone's favorite Juilliard dropout. We love him. Friend of the pod. We love him over here. Moving on to Katrina Bowden as Allison, that girl next door, the love interest.
She's the therapist.
The
Therapist.
Never mind. No, never mind. Jesse Moss as Chad, and he speaks volumes of the Chads of the world. I hate this guy, but
He does. he is most well known for his role as the boyfriend in Ginger Snaps. For those of you who follow Thesis Statement, the movie I won't stop talking about. But to settle me down, I feel like we need to have a stiff drink. I need to calm my nerves a little bit before we dive into this one.
Okay.
So
Calm your
what I
nerves.
have for you today is the Backwoods Mule. So you start off, obviously, with a glass and a little bit of ice. I don't say that often enough. You get 2 ounces of bourbon. Today we're working with Jim.
Okay.
A half ounce of lime juice, half an ounce of peach schnapps, and top that bad boy off with some ginger beer. And there you have your Backwoods Mule.
Awesome.
I've been sipping on mine a little bit because, can't trust a chef that doesn't taste his product.
right.
Oh, yeah. Nice and crisp. This is the kind of drink that you would mix up if you bought a former serial killer's cabin in the woods and decided to fix it up.
Ooh, right in time for spooky season, too.
So, like I said, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. It is a horror comedy, but I think you guys will agree with me. The first time you see this movie, you don't expect it to be as much of a comedy as it is.
Right.
You go into it expecting more horror elements. But this is also coming out in the time of Cabin in the Woods, where horror tropes are being flipped upside down for horror comedies, and we're really making fun of the genre, but in a dignified kind of way. I like to consider this, if it was poetry, it's Shakespeare's sonnets. It's a whole bunch of wild nonsense with a backbone.
Shakespeare in this movie. So that's what I get to.
This is comedic Shakespeare.
West Virginia Shakespeare. Party on.
And I'd like to open up the floor. Have either of you seen this movie before?
Bits and pieces? No.
Okay.
I like
Shasti?
No, I remember hearing of this movie, and I thought it was
There's
Very
just
different.
in my mind a completely different movie.
There's so many of those movies that came out during that time where it was like first name, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean, or infinite playlist and stuff like that. It's like,
That's true. That's true.
you know, there was so much of this, so it's like person, and it's supposed to be the movie.
Yeah,
kinda.
It did. That could have definitely played into why it was kind of brushed over. It just kind of didn't stand out as far as the title went. However, I do think it stands up in a qualitative way where it deserves to be discussed, because even though the title is somewhat generic, the movie itself stands out.
Yeah, I'd agree, especially with the budget they had. You said it was about $5 million.
$5 million.
$5 million. So this for me comes right along with like Shaun of the Dead, that kind of like British.
Yeah.
It's a little dry, but it's a little more wet in American style. I love the play on swampy, not campy, right? Diving into a hedge trimmer. I'm sorry, diving into a wood chipper.
Yes.
You gotta be kidding me.
Yes.
And like these kids are just falling over you. It's fun like that. It's one of these newer movies, these newer nuances of horror that actually have somewhat of a idea.
It's got a kind of an original twist on that old horror trope where normally, like the first thing you think of is Deliverance or The Hills Have Eyes or Hostel.
Going into that
where you're going like
territory.
a bunch of teenagers are going into the hills and
stumble upon a meth lab
exactly.
or something.
But in this case, it's just two dudes bought a cabin. They wanted a lake
couple
house.
Sweet ass dudes who just want to go fishing, sort of.
They want a vacation home. They can go like work.
Yeah,
I got vacation. Yeah, we want somewhere we can go work and fix it up.
It was the dream, I got a vacation home.
Well, and it just so happens that
dream
this
of
group of teenagers is led by a psychopath.
Right.
So
from that same vacation home.
Yeah. So they wind up,
Of course, his name is Chad. Of
Yeah.
course. So appropriately named.
If your name is Chad, change it. Like, don't be Chad. Don't be a Chad.
I know two Chads. One is in my family.
Well, you can be named Chad. Just like, don't be that
Don't
guy.
be a Chad.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be a murderous Chad.
Go by your middle name.
Yeah. So this movie stands out partially because it is so well constructed. Like there's not any real camera tricks. There's a lot of slapstick going on. These are old school film ideas, but it's done structurally very well. There is not a misstep as far as cinematography goes or sound design. Even the dialogue
The
is
moving
fantastic.
cameras are great too on these. Yeah. No
So
tricks,
it's a
but
campy
just-
idea
yeah.
that's done very well. So this could have easily been a B movie, but this slips into single A territory because it is done so well. And for this to be this guy's first directorial project is impressive.
Yeah. I mean, what do you?
I mean, I think
done anything since?
I think the real question is, what was Shakespeare's first? And then let's just start. Kind of work.
I mean, realistically, all
I
of
love it. I
Shakespeare's
want
stuff.
some more of it.
There's dick jokes in every single Shakespeare play. So let's be real. Shakespeare was my people. He was a classy hick. But yeah, and to add to that, you have Alan Tudyk, who always gives a landmark performance. The guy just loves what he does.
And we love him for doing it.
Absolutely. We're going to have him on someday to review one of his
swear we
movies.
will. I swear.
It's going to happen. It's going to
We'll
happen.
pay Patreons.
Yeah, right?
Let's start that project.
There's a Patreon tier where we can pay, or we can make a Patreon tier. But yeah, this is just a fun film. It doesn't have anything to say, but it's such a wonderful escape from not only reality, but also from the genre itself. Because when you think horror comedy, you think scary movie. You think over the top, super campy, no structure. Or when you think horror, especially in this vein, you're thinking, Michael Myers, Jason, guys that slasher movies. And this is neither of those things. It's its own.
Well, and they also hit on topics as far as like not trusting your friends or not being yourself in your group of friends.
Yeah.
And not giving your friends enough credit and just saying did a good job, bro, kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's vain like that.
I think a funny part is that like the college kids misjudge, the hillbillies, and they're like the nicest people they could ever meet.
Yeah.
But and they're like fake about it, right? But the whole time Dale is fake to Tucker about his love for fishing. Like that's their whole reason. Like I said, half of them buying their vacation home was to work.
Yeah.
And the other half was to go fishing. And Dale doesn't have
like
the
to
heart
fish.
to break it to his best friend that he hates fishing.
Well, it's because all he wanted was a vacation home. He's like, tell me you got a vacation home.
Yeah, he just wants to sit in a cabin and play board games.
And they're so realistic about everything they say. Like throughout,
Yeah.
he's like,
And he thinks he's better than them though
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
At the same point, it's like these kids. It's their parents' vacation home. I bought this.
Yeah.
It's a little dusty.
Yeah.
There's signs of serial killers on the wall. But,
yeah.
it's ownership. And he loved it. And then bring into the fact, he says these kids are killing themselves on my property, jumping to
Take the safety off on the side.
These kids are coming out here and they're killing themselves all over the woods.
Oh my God, that makes so much sense.
We got
the hopeless romantic in Dale, who's like the dumbest, smartest person ever.
He's got a weird brain.
Yeah, got a weird brain. He let me lit the frogs too. Make me feel weird.
But
it's a fun movie.
It is, and it builds up that like he goes from just being a fun protagonist to being the hero,
right?
In a believable way.
Not only for his friend, but the love interest, and basically the whole movie. Everybody dies.
Well, nothing is ever done out of character.
Right.
And I think that's what that's another thing that separates this from its peers is a lot of times you'll have it's usually the scream queen, but the protagonist flips a switch and suddenly they're this murderous badass that should have been in battle royale. Whereas with Dale, this guy he's a lovable bear that's just pushed to the point where he doesn't even want to fight. He wants to sit down and talk out his problems with this guy who has tried to kill him like 6 times at this point. And by the end of the movie, he doesn't need, I'm not going to give anything away, but by the end of the movie, when it comes to that climactic battle, Dale does not want to be there. He just wants to go home.
Right. Just wants to get the girl.
Yeah.
He wants to go bowling.
He wants to go bowling.
That's all he needs.
He wants to go bowling. And it is very clear that some of the people he knows from his hometown are the kind of hillbillies that the kids were afraid of, because at the very end when they are at the bowling alley and Dale's giving out his advice, he's like, just go for what you want, and his neighbor knocks the girl out and drags her away.
Fuck it, he says.
Yeah, this is a fun romp.
It is,
and it's not just fun. It's not just well designed. There's heart to it that I think elevates it beyond what it should have been. It really should have just been a goofy pseudo slasher that got lost in the woods.
Right.
But for me, it stands out, and I think for a lot of people who like cult movies like this, it stands out because it has identity. It's not Halloween. It's not Scary Movie. It's its own thing. And it cements its place in cinema history as being, of the 2 versions of this that we think about, or 3 versions of this. We think of Scary Movie, we think of Cabin in the Woods, and we think of Tucker and Dale versus Evil. This is the most different. Cabin in the Woods is very clearly a Joss Whedon project. It has a twist, it has some weird elements, and it gets kind of lost in the weeds on its own. Scary Movie never lies about what it is. It's not trying to tell you a story, it's just trying to be goofy. This stands as a film. And whether you look at it as a horror movie or a comedy, you get something out of it.
There's messages there. Don't go along with your psychopathic friends. Call the cops.
Do the obvious thing.
Do the obvious
thing. Don't stand under the unsturdy beam, or
don't look where you're going when you run through the woods.
Just don't go to the cabin. Just don't go anywhere near the cabin. It's bad.
Or befriend your local hillbilly friends and let them take you fishing.
Most importantly, Dale, when you see a half-naked woman jumping into the lake, don't scream my name. No,
Spot on.
I love every second of this. I've seen this movie probably 10 to 15 times.
All right.
It's more than just a yearly thing. This is my second date movie. This is the movie more often than not.
Second date movie?
Second date movie. More often than not. If I have a second date where we're watching a movie, I suggest this. Because, number one, I don't have to pay attention, so I can do whatever I want. But also because it's a fun experience and it doesn't set any precedent. When you're watching a horror movie, you're expecting to cuddle up. Right. When you're watching a comedy, you're almost expecting to talk.
All right.
With this, it leaves the door open, and you can have, like, I could watch this movie with Shasti.
I have another theory.
Yeah.
Dale gets the girl, and Dale is uglier than shit.
Thank you, Greg. My Dale.
I'm just saying. Are you trying to play on that fact? I'm more sexy than Dale, and Dale gets a hotter girl than what you're sitting next to. I don't know.
Damn.
I don't know your type. I don't know. I mean, I do know your type.
You do know my type.
I don't know the girls. You're saying the second date.
I mean, it works. It works. All where I'm gonna leave it. It works. Well, I mean, kind of. I am supremely.
It's a good movie to watch on a first or second, especially a second date. There you go.
It's not on a first date. Like, I'm
That's probably the last thing you want to put on.
Too uncomfortable to let you know what I'm really like. On the second date, I'm like, all right, I'm going to get weird and put on Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
And second day, you also come out overalls.
I do.
Cut off.
Yeah, and I let my beard grow out real good. And
Well, there you go.
you know, I play board games. It's like
Yeah,
a weird
I know.
brain.
It's pretty much what every girl wants is just play board games. You know, I mean, I know.
I know. You know. Yeah.
Greg and Josh versus Evil. There's your sequel.
We're both Dale.
There it is. There it is. We're both Dale. Neither of us can tell each other the truth because we feel too bad about hurting your feelings. Nah, this is a great buddy movie. It really is. And it's a good movie to watch with other people. And that's another good reason I watch it on dates. I'm like, we're already hanging out. This is something that I enjoy. I also want you to enjoy it.
Yeah. Get quirky.
But you don't have to focus on it so hard. It's not like if you're sitting down on a date and watching Being John Malkovich, you fucked up somewhere. But
That's like a 11th or 12th date.
right. That's
divorce.
with this. I want to sit down and watch this with you guys this October.
Right.
You know, during this spooky season, I want to sit down and just grill out, watch this fucking flick, and have a good time.
Put on the projector.
Yeah,
Over here.
it's a good time movie, and it accomplishes everything it sets out to do.
Agreed.
And there's not a whole lot to talk about as far as craft or anything. They're pulling typical, horror stuff. The sound design is very Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
The camera work is just very straightforward, and you could almost say John Carpenter. And the dialogue is
Good.
goofy. It's drunk
good.
Tarantino.
It's
drunk
there.
Tarantino.
That's the only.
I'll give it that. It's there. You
That's
know
what I'm
I
talking
mean?
about. Yeah. That's the only part about this movie that I think sets it apart is the dialogue, especially between Dale and Tucker. Tucker and Dale have that weird relationship where they're like homies, but one's taking advantage of the other at every point. And
What's a big brother, little brother?
but then at the same time, it's like the dialogue between friendship on the college kid level, like how Chad's running the show is just blatant fucking disrespectful to like younger kids, which they should heed the warning because that's how younger kids are.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I lived it. I know.
I was a younger
34
kid.
now, but I mean, it's how it goes.
No,
I mean,
absolutely.
Like, be the alpha kind of guy. It's like, oh, what are you gonna do about this guy? No, he gets killed. He's a shithead.
Yeah.
And he's half
somebody's got to die.
hillbilly.
Somebody's got to die.
Right.
And I don't think there's a whole lot to necessarily break down. I think this is just a strong recommendation from me, and to tell you why I'm gonna make you watch it this month again.
Again.
Yeah, we are. Well, I mean, think about this.
I mean,
we
I
get
need to
together
see-
once a week. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. I feel like I need to see it again.
I think I'd love to watch it with you because I know off mic you and I were talking about your,
I was
your
expecting
expectations.
Some, yeah, a little different, but
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I need to watch it with Greg. Just drink a bottle, watch it with Greg.
Yeah.
I do some stuff.
It's a great movie for that.
I'm
So
a weird analyzer.
let's go around the horn. Grego, any final thoughts before we get to the taco
Final
ratings?
thoughts. Very fun movie. I would suggest watching this movie. It's fantastic. Not much to say. Like it's just one of those good. Alan Tudyk, man.
Yeah,
seriously. And then Dale plays his part so perfectly. Like I almost wore fucking cut off sleeves and a shitty hat and grew my beard, but good movie front to back. Well, I would call it good movie, but a movie, not a film. See it, check it out.
Mikey?
First and last thoughts, you already know. Kind of thought it was going to be more of a horror movie with your suggestion and it being like Halloween coming up. For sure thought it was just going to I've never, like I said, I didn't know the movie. With that being said, and how over the top it was, because it's way more of a comedy than a horror.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that like dialogue tied it together more than anything in the sense where without that and like clean shots and like good cinematography, it would be a B movie. But like that, I know they didn't get the return, but the budget's there. You know what I mean? The actors are there.
Yeah.
And all the elements were there to have a really fun movie.
Excellent.
You know what I mean?
I'm so glad you guys liked it.
If I'm rating, if I'm rating this on a fun scale when we do the tomatoes or the
No fun scale.
tacos, I'm just saying if I was,
A roller skate scale.
yeah, it would be 110 tacos.
All right. So obviously this is one of my favorite films of all time. I think the dialogue is fantastic. The sound design, it's underappreciated, but it's very horror, and it's very comforting for me. And, this is the right kind of camp. Not just because the kids were going camping, but because this is a campy film with a backbone.
This is your... Going camping?
And I highly recommend it to absolutely everyone. If you don't like horror movies, you're still going to... I think you'll like this movie because it's not really a horror movie. It's more a comedy.
Right.
And to see my boy Alan Tudyk, which I love seeing that guy on film. I love seeing him get work. And the guy who plays Dale, he was in Dead Like Me and Reaper and what was there was a BBC show that he was in with Elijah Wood in the second season. He does a great job, and I think he wouldn't have gotten a couple of those roles without this movie. So I really appreciate the fact that he was able to display that. But that said, here at Sippable Opinions, we like to rate our movies out of 100 tacos because tomatoes suck. So, Greg, we're going to do this two ways, just like we did with the Christmas movies.
Oh, no.
Out of 100 regular tacos, what do you give this? And then out of 100 spooky tacos, what do you give it?
Regular tacos, 75.
Okay.
Spooky tacos, 59.
No kidding. It's a lower rating.
Yes. No, there's no spook to this. This is a comedy, straightforward.
Fair enough.
In my opinion.
Fair enough.
Nothing more to say, really. Usually I'm pretty long-winded on my explanations, but no.
Fair enough. Shasti.
I got it at 70 for tacos, and is it spooky? Because I feel like
tacos you can include whatever rating you want.
Because we did Christmas, right?
For Christmas, we rated it on the fun rating.
Factor.
Yeah.
So like I just said, if it was a fun factor, I'd throw it like a 90. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But as far as like critiquing, film and I guess expectations was the biggest thing going into it. I was just caught off guard.
Fair enough.
And but yeah, fun factor. Yeah, 90. I get it, motherfucker.
Excellent.
90.
Excellent.
90 tacos.
As a like regular tacos as a film, I give this a solid 85. This is a square this is a good movie. Right. It is well crafted. The dialogue is there. It doesn't lag. The plant and payoffs are there, and it does have one thing that I knock off. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but there's a moment in the end where it loses a couple of points because it's a little too campy. But everything else, you just knock those tomatoes off of this taco, and this gets an 85 for me. As far as spooky tacos, where it goes like fun factor and what I like and horror,
I thought it was like spooky.
I give this a 98.
Whoa,
a 98 spooky tacos. This is
So
one
Greg,
of the best.
I was confused by this.
All right, so
tacos
what's
ever
your
made.
other taco?
Well, no, so
What's your pumpkin rating?
I thought it was like a spooky, like being scared of.
No,
or something.
fun
It's
factor.
whatever you want it
Fun
to be.
factor.
Whatever you want.
So
it to be.
can I
Yeah, you can
retort?
recant.
Recant. 75 full.
Okay.
Fun factor, 88.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's fun.
Fair enough.
I thought it was like a scare me kind of thing. You said spooky.
No, it's
You said
whatever you want it to
spooky.
be. Whatever you want it to
no.
be.
I don't like to be spooked. Unless it's this time of year.
I like to be spooked. I love horror movies. But yeah, so here we are at our final segment, folks. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you are watching this on YouTube, go ahead and drop down into the comments section and let us know what your taco rating is for Tucker and Dale versus Evil. And let us know why. And out of your spooky tacos, what do you give it? Because you're critics too. And if you are listening to this on a podcast network, we appreciate you. If you could hop on over to your preferred rating system and just give us 5 stars or, thumbs up, whatever kind of rating system you're using. Every bit of interaction counts. We appreciate all those recommendations, all those ratings. You're really helping us out. And don't forget to like, subscribe, all the good YouTube stuff if you're watching this on your computer machine or your cell phone telephone. If, this is a very big if you would like to join the team, hop on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/sippableopinions. I'm not going to spell it again because the guys made fun of me.
PP.
There's 2 P's.
For as little as $1 a month, you can support the show and you will get full access to all of our exclusive shows like The Sip. You get early access to every episode of every show, all of our videos, all of our hidden pilot episodes to all the shows we've done. And you can interact with us there. We do polls there for what you guys are interested in and what styles you're looking for, what shows you'd like to see more of, what guests you'd like to see if we can get them, because we're still growing. But that said, thank you for all of your support on whatever level you are. Greg, thank you for being here
Thanks,
and
Josh.
co-hosting this train
Thanks,
with me.
Shasti.
Mikey, thank you for
Always a
being the
pleasure.
master of the mix.
Always a pleasure.
Watchers, listeners, and ghoulish ones alike, we see you, we hear you, we love you. We gotta say goodbye.
Officer, do we look like a couple of psycho killers to you?